All right, now it's time for a little fantasy football. D Nasty is back, and Dave, what a terrible week of quarterback injuries, man. How's it
Oh,
going?
wow. My God, yeah, it's a brutal week for quarterbacks, man. I started Jane Daniels in one of my league over Joe Burrow. And that was what a mistake that was. Sad
Oh,
to
over
see him go
Joe.
down. I know, but I got my white Packer jersey on in honor of the whiteout for the Packers this past week. We should have won by about 20 points, but played pretty sloppy, but still won with our new kicker, Brandon McManus. We'll talk about him in a little bit here.
Heard it was like 70 degrees, some whiteout you had. You couldn't save it for the winter time, huh? But it would have
Oh,
been much
hey, it was
cooler.
pretty cool though, man.
It would have been
The
cooler
new
if it
white
was
helmets are on
snow.
fire.
If
No,
we
just the
had,
white on the stadium, man.
yeah,
The new uniforms are fire. They're all white jerseys and the white helmets with the gold speckles. Yeah, they're legit.
I'm sure it was cool. You were at the game, huh?
No, I was
No,
in
you
soccer
weren't.
for my daughter.
Gotcha. Yeah, of course. Well, anyways, Dave, this is kind of a weird week because bye weeks?
No
None,
bye
right?
weeks. Nope, no bye weeks this
No
week.
bye weeks. That is absolutely insane. Yeah, it is weird. I thought they might have done that last year to us too. I'm trying to remember. I know there was something funky. It just, they'd rather just push them out more because there's more weeks. So, week 14's got bye weeks now. So, that's just one of those things before the playoffs. You just don't want your playoffs to ever have bye weeks. That's the important thing.
Yeah, I don't like that. I'd rather have
Um,
a week 8 instead of week 14. Yeah, this is a major week for buys. This should have been the week, but yeah,
well,
we'll
they're
move
talking
on.
about they're talking about going 2 bye weeks too in the future sometime. So that would really mess fantasy up
Yes,
if they increase your roster size. If you did that, for sure.
exactly.
Um, well, why don't you go into key injuries then? And we're already getting some tonight on Monday Night Football.
Yeah, well, one major one from tonight on Monday Night Football was Mike Evans. I was watching the game actually. He went down in a lot of pain. He was screaming on this after he almost caught a touchdown pass. He dropped the touchdown pass. I don't know if it was due to the injury or not, but yeah, he went down a lot of pain. Right hamstring injury. He might be out for several weeks. It looked bad. He's not returning tonight. And then another major one is Deshaun Watson, torn Achilles. That's a major blow for the Browns, even though they weren't playing well. Maybe opens up a few opportunities for some quarterbacks we'll talk about here shortly. Another one, Brandon Ayuk with the ACL tear. Another major blow for the Niners. I don't know how they're going to survive all these injuries, but we'll get into the replacement for him as well. A couple other ones. David Montgomery, knee injury. He returned in the second quarter, though, so that was good news. Juju Smith-Schuster, hamstring. He was ruled out against the 49ers. Aiden O'Connell, borderline, he's not really being started probably right now, but a thumb injury. He could have broken his thumb. He might be out for several weeks. More to come on that. Cooper Kupp sat out again as inactive with the ankle injury. He's actually expected to return on Thursday night, though, so good news there. If you do have him, you can plug him back into your lineups for Thursday. He is good to go for Thursday. They're already saying already. Jane Daniels, rib injury. He's week to week right now. I would expect him to play probably this week with a flak jacket. Uh, I don't think it was that major. I think he could have came back in, but they were up by so much he didn't need to. So that was another one. Debo Samuel, late scratch. You hate those in fantasy football
He's
when
in
they
the
scratch.
hospital for pneumonia. He's in the
Yeah,
hospital. That's kind of dangerous. I hope he's all right.
yeah. So that was a major one too. So yeah, that never like to see anything like that for a player. That was a pretty major one, but he should hopefully be back. Maybe not this week, but next week. DK Metcalf actually another injury, MCL strain. They carted him away on a cart and with ice on his knee, but they said it's week to week. I think he would be at least a week or two, though, just from what I saw when they were carting him off. But it's DK Metcalf, though. He's a big dude and he's pretty tough. So we'll see about this week, but keep an eye on that one. Some good news, actually, on the injury front. Tua will be practicing this week, and he could return in week 8. They're saying if he looks good in practice this week, they may activate him for week 8, which would be huge for all the Miami Dolphins players on fantasy teams. Who did I miss, or what else you got, Kiev?
Oh, well, guess what? Breaking news, Dave. Right, hot off the presses to my Twitter feed. Jameson Williams 2-game suspension for
Ooh,
performance enhancing drugs.
again.
Jameson Williams from the Lions. Yeah, he didn't do anything for
Ooh.
me. He got like a half a point, if that, or something in fantasy. I don't know if he got hurt or what. halfway doing some errands while the beginnings of the games went on, and I raced back to watch them. But yeah, that's right off the press. It was Adam Schefter just tweeted it. I don't know what he's on, but it says performance enhancing, so you can speculate. It's not good for him.
Yeah, he's one of those trouble players that you kind of you like his talent, but it's hard to draft a guy like that because he doesn't play at the time. He got suspended for gambling, and he got suspended for something else. I think actually his rookie year too. So I know he was still injured then, but still, he's either injured or he's getting suspended. So that's not good.
No, it's not good at all. You pretty much nailed everything. You said Tyler Huntley, Aiden O'Connell.
I missed Huntley though. Yeah, I forgot Huntley. The Huntley was injured as well.
Okay, shoulder. That was shoulder injury, and that's a moot point because, like we said, Tua's coming back, so it doesn't matter. Now, if Tua gets hit again, it will matter. But you can handcuff him with Tim Boyle, I guess, if you're desperate. That's pretty bad.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd be starting him.
Well, there's some good streamers this week, and I'll get into the waiver wire. Marcus Mariota is a decent streamer this week. I know he's got a tough matchup of the Bears off the bye, but the Bears were down some secondary, like 2 or 3 big ones. Brisker, Gordon, a couple other guys, and we have to just monitor if they're playing, because if they're not, then Mariota could be a good streamer this week if Daniels can't go. This is interesting because you mentioned obviously that awful torn Achilles for what's his face, Deshaun Watson, and now you got Jameis Winston and Dorian Thompson-Robinson there.
But then the one injury that we forgot too is Dorian Thompson-Robinson actually injured his pinky in that game and did leave. They said he will play though. Yeah, they said next week if he can grip the football, he'll play. But I think Winston starts this week because he looked pretty good.
Well, I would start Winston against the Ravens. I mean, he's going to give you your best chance of winning. The Ravens are stacking the box against DTR. He's dead. I mean, that thing's not going to work for them, and it's just going to get ugly. I mean, look what they're doing in Tampa right now. So basically, Jameis Winston can sling it, and sure, many of our picks, that they just read his eyes and they jump routes, and we've seen it for years now. But he also has had some numbers over games. He can put up some serious numbers. I would certainly put in Jameis Winston. I don't know why he wasn't already the number 2 guy last week. Pretty stupid, if you ask me. They might have actually been able to get that game closer.
He came back a little bit in that game and made it a game.
Yeah, so there's 3 quarterbacks right there, and here's your 4th, Gardner Minshew. If you hate yourself, you can definitely pick him up.
A guy I really like, actually, they just signed today, Desmond Ridder. He started for the Falcons 2 years ago, or last year.
Desmond Ridder.
He's last awful. Year, so he actually looked pretty decent, I thought, last year. And he could probably do well with the Raiders if they give him a shot. He's not going to play right away, but a couple weeks out, though, you might need a quarterback. Desmond Ridder might be a guy just to keep your eye on.
Ritter's trash. Ricky Pearsall is good for the Niners, but even more important, Juwan Jennings. He's really going to be the man now. Juwan Jennings did really good when
he was actually out this past week with an injury as well.
Yes, he was, but he's coming. I know, but he's going to be back in a week or 2. So he's the guy that you want to own if you're an Ayuk owner for sure. You don't want to own Pearsall necessarily. I think Pearsall might be slot guy or something. Pearsall's going to work his way in as a rookie. And you know what? Maybe he's going to be worth owning at some point. I mean, I guess in a deep league, I would pick up Pearsall. That's why he's on my waiver wire. But I would put Juwan Jennings ahead of him. Dave, don't you agree?
I would agree, yeah.
Okay. Tyler Lockett, now DK is going to miss a week at least, I think, the way he was hurt. So that's not good for him. And Tyler Lockett's going to be the pickup for the week. Tight end Noah Fant is going to get more targets now for Seattle. So I kind of like Fant. He's actually having a halfway decent year so far this year. Yeah, absolutely. Better year than Laporta, actually. Wide receiver Keon Coleman was good with 125 yards last week. So, he's a speculative ad. I know that they picked up Amari, but maybe that just helps Keon Coleman get open a little bit more. So, you got to think like that sometimes in fantasy. And then obviously tight end Hunter Henry. He's been like the only target for New England, and he's good for rookies like May. I think he's just going to be a solid tight end and just get in. He'll score probably more than the receivers will, Dave.
Yeah, I agree. I like Tua this week as a pickup. If someone did drop them while he was out injured,
I'd be shocked if someone dropped Tua, man. with those receivers there. But yeah, check your waiver wire. I'm going to see what he's owned at in fantasy while you go.
Yeah, and then Drake May, like I said, he had my D-Nasty sleeper last week, 276 yards and 2 TDs. He's got a pretty nice matchup this week, so definitely pick him up if he's still out there on waivers. And then another guy, I like the Jameson Winston pick as well. I agree with that. Tyrone Tracy, Singletary was healthy this week, but Tracy still did get a majority of the carries, so that situation is a good situation there to pick him up. Ray Davis actually looked awesome last week, and he got a touchdown again this week. So if he's still out there, scoop up Ray Davis along with Tyler Goodson. Goodson had a touchdown this week as well with Taylor out. Who knows when Taylor's coming back? Hopefully this week, fingers crossed. But if Goodson if Taylor's still out, Goodson is a good person to start. He had a touchdown. He had majority of the carries too. He had more carries than Sermon did. And then Sermon actually has somewhat of a knee injury that he's nursing too. So another reason to pick him up as well. I like the Jawan Jennings, Keon Coleman. I had both of them. Julian Tolbert coming off the bye. Some people might have forgot about him. You could like him as a pickup as well. Demario Douglas struggled this past week. He is playing the Jets though this week, which had a tough pass D, but he had illness last week, so that is their go-to guy. I like him this week. Ricky Purcell, I had him as well. Jerry Jeudy is a guy that some people forgot about, and Cedric Tillman. Cedric Tillman actually had a really good week last week. He came in, he kind of took over for Amari Cooper last week. Had a great game. And then same with Jerry Jeudy. One of those guys is going to have to be the number one there now. So speculative ads on both of those guys would be a good idea. Tony Franklin actually has a nice matchup for the Broncos this week against Carolina. So I like that speculative ad. A couple tight ends. I agree with your pickup by Noah Font. But I like Janu Smith. He had a great game this past week. Had a touchdown and almost 100 yards. And then Jatavian Sanders, a rookie for Carolina. He was their leading receiver this past week for receptions and yardage. So he's a guy you want to keep an eye on too. They play Denver, which is a good D, but that's their pretty much go-to guy right now, him and Deontay Johnson. Even Deontay Johnson struggled this past week, but Sanders actually could be a go-to guy going forward. So I really like him. The defense I like this week. I like the Chargers against New Orleans with that rookie quarterback. Green Bay D, I like them this week against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jacksonville Jaguars has struggled this year. And then Houston Texans D, I like them against Indy this week. Those are some D's you could stream this week as well.
Oh, for sure. Texans, they're decent on D. They're a little bit overrated on offense, I think, at least until Collins comes back. But we'll see what the Colts do. The Colts, interesting division game coming up here. Yeah, definitely. I like how you said the tight end there that I forgot about, Jonnu Smith. He's pretty good, but he might make my next section. So why don't you first go into sleepers or for week 8 or non-starters trading up?
Sounds good. A couple of guys I like. Jordan Addison, I like him against the Rams this week. He's the guy I have trending up right now. Rashad Bateman, he's
just caught a touchdown tonight.
Yeah, he had a touchdown tonight. He's actually had quite a few looks and targets tonight too. So I like him as trending up this week. And then I do like Mason Randolph. I forgot to mention him. Will Levis actually was out. He got injured this week. He didn't start. So Mason Rudolph is actually a speculative ad. You can pick up him. He might not be a great matchup against the Lions this week, but he will be a starter this week. So he's trending up. Wicks actually did ton even Wicks. I've talked about him in the past. A touchdown again this past week, and all the receivers were healthy. So he's against the Jaguars, who I really like that matchup a lot. And another guy too I really like this week. Braylon Allen could have a nice week against the Patriots' poor defense. That's a great matchup for them. And then a couple rookies with the Mike Evans injury against the poor Falcons D. You could either Trey Palmer or McMillan actually for the Buccaneers against the Falcons. So I like that matchup for them. Another one I like Kareem Vidal against the Saints. Even though they usually do have a good run defense, their defense has struggled the last couple weeks. So I like that matchup there. The Broncos this week, I like Javonte Williams. Actually had a bust-out game last week. He still might not be starting in some leagues, but definitely you're starting him this week. He's a must-start, I think, this week against Carolina. So, and Bo Nix, I like him too against the poor Carolina D. Those are definitely people you want to start this week. Another one, Jalen Tolbert. 49ers have struggled. They have so many injuries on defense and offense now. Their defense has not looked good. Usually they have a top defense, but not this year. So I'm starting. I like Rico Dogway against the 49ers, and I like Jalen Tolbert as a guy that's trending up against them too. that poor defense. Russell Wilson, everyone forgot about him. He started off really cold this past week, and then he was on fire, dropping dimes to Pickens in that game. So I really like him.
Great game.
Yeah, he had a great game. I'm liking him against the Giants, actually. Giants D has been struggling. They have quite a few injuries, too, on their defense. So I'm liking Russell Wilson this week as well.
Oh, 100%. All right. No, I like a lot of those. So I have Keon Coleman because he's got another nice matchup at Seattle next week. Seattle's been giving up a lot of yards, especially against the pass. Running back Jalen Warren is a decent play against the Giants finally. I think, he's been really bad this year because of injuries and stuff, but I expect him to get some garbage yards if they're beating the Giants by a lot, so you can think about that. Running back J.K. Dobbins will be huge against the Saints. I think that the Saints defense is absolutely injured, and Saints are just not looking good either. Running back DeAndre Swift against the Washington Commanders will get some yards for the Bears. Running back Kareem Hunt at the Raiders. What's interesting about the Raiders is, remember when the Raiders beat the Kansas City Chiefs on Christmas last year?
Oh, yeah.
I think it was Christmas. Oh, that's a nice revenge spot for the Chiefs here. I think they're going to get their revenge.
Oh, they're going to remember that, yeah, for sure.
Oh, hell yeah. Their Christmas was, they got coal in their stocking. That's not good. Running back Ray Davis earned more carries against the Seahawks, too, so I think he's going to get some. David Njoku against the Ravens. Now, that's the only guy.
Borderline starter, though, I think. Him and Dobbins both are borderline starters.
I guess so. I guess I'll give you that. We never said J.K. Dobbins, but he's okay. I think he's more like your third guy, but I do either way like him this way. But I won't use him again or Njoku again. Njoku's also in and out of lineups a lot, so I don't know. He's hurt a lot. But I don't want people to forget him because Jameis Winston could throw it to him a lot.
I agree. I really like him. He had a great game last week, too. This last week, actually, too, with Winston throwing to him. Got a touchdown from Winston last week.
So did my nasty sleeper, Nick Chubb. He got a touchdown, if you remember that. Got in the end. Baby. I like Romeo Dobbs against the Jaguars for sure. Definitely like a lot of Packers this week against the Jaguars, to be honest with you. Jaguars defense is bad. Wide receiver Cooper Kupp is back. He's practicing full. He's going to be in your lineup this Thursday, and you got to put him in against Minnesota. So I just want to remind people it's not like he's not a starter, but just remind people he's ready to roll. Wide receiver Drake London, he was bad last game and fumbled and interception bounced off him, whatever. But he should be good against Tampa this week. So I like Drake London. I like Darnell Mooney. Also, he should show up against Tampa. Tampa's defense looking really suspect this week. Holy cow, they look bad against the Ravens. It's the Ravens, but still. Justin Herbert, he's going to do some damage against the Saints. He's not like a starting quarterback, really, because the way Harbaugh's style is. But I just think with the Saints, he can just go off against the Saints. So I like Justin Herbert. I like Cortland Sutton. Dave, I don't know if he's a starter. Cortland Sutton, he's
borderline, I think, right now. But yeah, I agree.
Yeah, borderline, but he's got the Panthers. So, I mean, seriously, the Panthers, and Javonte Williams has now almost earned his starting position back. He's killed it last game. He was a sleeper of mine like 2 weeks ago, and he's been awesome. So this is the last time I can use him. But he's playing the Panthers, so there you go. So, Dave, why don't you move into busts?
All right, a couple busts I have this week. The Vikings, actually, they've been playing well, actually, this year on defense. I don't like Matt Stafford against the Vikings this week. They have a good pass defense. They've been playing well. I don't like any of the Browns this week against the Ravens. Ravens have a good D. As you can see tonight, Tampa has been rolling, but not tonight. Ravens have just been making them look awful tonight. I don't like that matchup. I don't like any of the Titans this week against the Lions. Lions defense has been stepping up. Even without Aiden Hutchinson, they still look good this past week. I don't like that matchup right there. Like I said, I don't like the Colts against the Texans this week. Richardson didn't look that good in his first game back. I don't like them this week against the Texans. I think the Texans bounced back this week too with the big win over Colts. I don't like that matchup for them. Jaguars, I don't like them against the Pack. The Pack's defense has been playing better and better. They just held Stroud to under 100 yards, which is pretty amazing when he's that great of a quarterback. So I like that match. Don't like that matchup for the Jaguars. I'm downgrading most of that team actually there as well. I don't like the Patriots this week, even though I like Drake May last week. I do not like him this week against the Jets. He's definitely trending down against that good D. Jets has just been looking horrible. Aaron Rodgers, glad he's gone. That's all I can say about that. Aaron Rodgers is horrible now. Anyways,
No,
moving
he's
on.
been horrible, Dave. Oh, he's always been horrible.
Yeah, ever since he left the pack. Anyways, moving on. The matchup, the Seahawks against the Bills. That's kind of an interesting one. Bills have been playing better on defense, but the Seahawks still have a good offense. So I'm kind of going to downgrade Geno Smith just a little bit because he's missing DK Metcalf, and they're playing a pretty good Bills secondary who got a couple of their key guys back that were injured. So I'm downgrading him a little bit. Commanders, I'm downgrading them. I like the Bears D. I like to say Bears are 4-2. I think they have a good defense. That's what's been carrying them. I'm downgrading the Commanders this week. I don't like Jane Daniels. Plus, he's banged up this week against the Bears. Tough Bears D. I don't like that matchup. Carolina Panthers, I don't like them against the Broncos D. Broncos D have a legit D. Andy Dalton, if he's starting, I don't like him this week. Deontay Johnson, who's a borderline starter, downgrading him as well. Raiders, Gardner Minshew's not going to do anything. Kansas City's defense has actually been really well this year too. So they have one of the top 10 defenses right now. So I'm definitely downgrading all the Raiders this week. Alexander Madison had a great game last week. He still probably could do a little something this week, but definitely Minshew, I don't think he does much this week against that tough D. And I don't like the Giants this week against Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's D has been good all year. Even this last week, you can see the Steelers D's are stepping up. That's been carrying them this year. I don't like Daniel Jones this week. He looked bad last week. He had a few glimpses there for a few weeks, but I don't like him against the Steelers for sure.
Agreed with that. I have them tipped down, Daniel Jones and Wan'Dale Robinson.
Yeah, both.
I guess you might have to start Malik Neighbors anyway. It's just one of those.
He's almost a must start, yeah.
He's pretty close to a must start, but man, that's just not good. I don't like the running backs either. I don't know if Singletary's coming back or what for the Giants.
He was back this past week, but I think he's still banged up a little bit. I don't think he's 100% still.
Yep. So I also think Nick Chubb, even though he was my sleeper last week, I don't like him against the Ravens at all this week. So sorry, Chubb, you are gone. They're stacking the box against you guys unless Jameis Winston saves you. Quarterback Geno Smith against the Bills without Metcalf. I agree with that. You said that, and I agree with it. Dak Prescott. So here's the thing. I have a little disagreement with you on that one. I don't think he does good against big teams, against great teams. I think he chokes against great teams. You see it constantly. Happens always in the playoffs. I know they're coming off the bye, but the Niners are embarrassed from last week, man. I don't know. It's in San Fran. I don't like Dak this week, man. Sorry.
Yeah, I have to agree with you halfway on that. Big Dak does choke in the big games and the playoffs, so I almost semi-agree with you on that. I do like I said, I did like Rico and Jalen Tolbert, but I never said Dak. But that's borderline. It's a tough game to judge is how the 49ers have been playing on D though, because they've been pretty horrible on defense as well. So.
I appreciate that. If you got like Justin Herbert or Dak, I would probably go Herbert against the Saints. That's just how big it is for me. Ramondre Stevenson against the Jets. I know the Jets haven't been that good, but they're so embarrassed now. And the Patriots are so bad. I just think that's a bad spot for Ramondre Stevenson. Quarterback Russell Wilson. Dude, I'll tell you one thing about the Giants. They actually can stop the pass. They're kind of ranked in the top 7 in stopping the pass. So Wilson just had this massive game. I can't completely trust Wilson yet. I think he's definitely a for sure own though, Dave, from the waiver wires and everything. I'm just not sure.
I'm not sold either. He struggled. He'd have a good game, and then he's inconsistent for sure. I would definitely agree with you on that.
Yeah, Brian Robinson against the Bears D is not great. Definitely Eckler's not. So Brian Robinson and Jacoby Myers, if he's back even against the Chiefs, and any frickin' Raider against the Chiefs, my man. I can't stand any of them. I think they're all bad, Dave. That moves us to our nasty sleeper. Would you like to go first?
No, go ahead.
I'm going Bo Nix against the Panthers. I mean, what a matchup. How do you not start your guys against the Panthers after what we've witnessed this year? This is not even an NFL team from what I'm watching. I am freaking confused. I am dumbfounded on how bad these they can be. Everyone just tees off on them, my man. A field day, this is like the most embarrassing team. Of course, the only win they have is against the freaking Raiders, who aren't too far past them. But no, man, this is bad, and it's ugly. And Bo Nix is a 7.5 point favorite against this team. It has gotten that bad, Dave. Start Bo Nix.
Well, that Bo Nix was actually my dynasty sleeper, so I'm gonna mix it up.
Oh, you should have went first. I offered it to you,
first,
man.
actually. But I got a couple other ones though here. So I'm going Kareem Hunt against the Raiders.
Okay.
He had a monster game this past week. I think he does it again this week against the Raiders. Kareem Hunt 2 TDs last week. He's actually definitely taken over that backfield. Clyde Edwards-Helaire didn't even play this week. He was inactive. So Kareem Hunt, I think, is going to be my dynasty sleeper of the week this year. I think he's a must start this week against the Raiders.
I agree, but I'm not so sure he's not a starter yet, Dave. I think.
All right. Well, my backup then is actually Javonte Williams, who I really like too, actually for the Broncos. Sure. So that's going to be my other dynasty sleeper. So I'll have 2 this week, since you didn't allow me to have the other one, and you took my other one.
I didn't say you couldn't have it. I said he's borderline.
He is borderline. So I'll go Javonte Williams. I like how he looked this past week. He's running hard. They were definitely running the ball well. So, and they're playing the Panthers. So I'm going Javonte Williams, and that's my lock for the week. Dynasty sleeper.
Fair enough, my man. Javonte Williams and Bo Nix start Denver is what we're trying to say. Anything that we missed?
No, I just one thing that was really shocking though that I thought was this past week, Kyle Shanahan reamed out Brock Purdy at his locker for like 10 minutes after throwing 3 interceptions, but a lot of those weren't even his fault, and he had no receivers to throw to. So just keep that in mind though, in that 49ers Dallas Cowboys matchup. So Juwan Jennings definitely want to get in your lineups this week too as well.
Purdy was awful. Like he was sailing guys and throwing it right into the Chiefs players, almost like he was playing for the Chiefs. Maybe he was phased because he lost his top 3 receivers. Jennings was already going to be out, so they should have practiced without him. But Jesus, man, he was all that bad. But I disagree with the way Kyle Shanahan. I mean, I'm not so sure I would have done that after losing your top 2 receivers for most of that game. I'm pretty sure Ayuk was. I thought Ayuk was hurt in the first half too. I heard it was second half today. I'm like, no, I think that was first half.
I think it was second half.
Right in the beginning, second. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so the game was within reach at that point. It was 14-6 Chiefs. So he wasn't doing good even with Ayuk. So
agreed.
I mean, just embarrassing him like that. That's rough.
Yeah.
Well,
situation.
Don't ever feel sorry for a quarterback, even if they're Mr. Irrelevant. They're still going to make a lot of money. So don't matter. Kid, start throwing better. I'm gonna start reaming you out. I lost a bet because of you, buddy. There you go. My friends, thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Odds Breakers. We'll be back later to break down college football this week and NFL. 3 podcasts again this week. If you have any questions, feel free to tweet us at the Odds Breakers. Email us at info@theoddsbreakers.com. Have a great rest of your week and go get some winners.